Hey, what's going on? And thank you to anybody taking the time to watch this video today. I'm a passenger on a ride, and today I just wanted to take a few minutes just to talk about grief and loss and kind of how you can help to transmute that energy into something a little bit more positive in, a really dark time. Grief is something that most of us have experienced. If you haven't at some point in time, unfortunately, you will. It's just a part of our experience. When you've got something that you really love, or someone that you really love, or, even a pet that you really love, and you lose them knowing that they're going to be gone forever and that you just simply won't be able to see them again is a really hard concept to digest, and obviously automatically brings the sadness out of me. But I really experienced grief the worst that I have up to this point in time in my life this year, as I've had kind of the most close losses that I've ever had. And through that, I've learned some ways to deal with it, and I figured that I could share them here and hope that it could be beneficial to someone. And, just to give the examples of kind of what I went through this year, earlier in the year, I lost my grandfather on my mother's side, who unfortunately I never really got a chance to be close to, just to the toxic nature of my family and kind of having to remain at a certain distance to remain out of their sphere of control and manipulation, really. And, it was a sad loss, but because of the closeness that I had lacked with him, it wasn't a horribly traumatic one by any means. And a little bit later in the year, unfortunately, we had to put my beloved dog of 15 years down due to him being ill. He had been ill for about a year, and like pretty ill with kidney problems and just never really feeling all too well. So we were kind of unsure how that was going to go for about a year before we got to the point where we had to put him down. And after dealing with that and kind of starting to do better, right the day after Christmas, I got a message letting me know that one of my close friends from high school, who I had been friends with for like 9 years, one of the closest people in my life, had unfortunately, um, for lack of a better term, for YouTube's sake, unalived themselves. And it was just a lot to process this year. I've lost people in the past. I've lost friends and, lost family members and stuff, but really none that I've been super close to or just really had like a super close attachment to, in the manner that, there was somebody who's like a very active part of my daily life, or that, I interact with at least a couple times a week. And, like I said, my grandfather thing was relatively easy to, get past, but the dog was a little bit harder, quite a bit harder. It's still, a tragic loss, and I wish nothing but to have him back. And same with my friend that unfortunately passed away. But something I really learned, and I've read this a lot over the years, but finally got to apply it to my life this year, is that, as much as grief does come along, and we need to feel the different stages of it and not get, not try to just get past that immediately or not feel those emotions. You have to feel those emotions out and let that ride. But you can't carry yourself in that too long. I've seen too many people over the years just get consumed by grief and kind of let it define a piece of who they are based on the experiences they've had of loss just being a very prevalent thing. And you really just want to try to stay away from that. And the best way that I found is to just kind of feel your loss for a while, be as sad as you need to be, cry it out, do what you need to do, long for them. But as soon as those emotions start to fade a little bit, or you have the capacity to kind of try to change them, try to, transmute that energy into something a little bit more positive, rather than this longing and missing, and I know that'll never go away, but try to just consciously, when you start missing them or being sad, change it to an appreciation for the life that they lived, and an appreciation that you had the ability to be with that person, or animal in my case, or in a lot of other people's cases, for a beautiful part of their life, and that they got to be a beautiful part of yours. you know Grief is something, like I said, it's not something that any of us can avoid. It's just a natural part of life, and with that being the case, we need to feel out our emotions and do our best to transmute that energy that we're feeling into something a little bit more positive. And best way that I've found is to just kind of try to change it to an appreciation of life, rather than just wallowing in the sorrow of the loss for so long. And like I said, again, the loss, the sadness from the loss is never going to go away, but you can try to transmute it. And even if you have transmuted it, you're still going to have your moments. I've done this with my dog and my friend, but I still have my moments where I'm really just upset that I can't see either of them again. But just gotta constantly do my best to transmute and find a balance between letting myself feel the sadness and transmuting that towards something more positive and just being grateful more than anything. And that just comes back more to the mental transmutation stuff that I've talked about in some of my other videos, and just changing your thoughts and reality to something a little bit more positive, although letting yourself feel those emotions at the same time. But that's really all I've got. I really appreciate anybody who's taking the time to watch this video or any of my other ones. I haven't had a whole lot of views so far, but I'm really not looking for that quite yet. Really just kind of trying to get comfortable behind the camera here and figure out kind of which space I'm going in. So again, like I've said before, anybody who's taken the time to join me this early on into my journey, I sincerely appreciate you. And if this or any of my other videos have had a positive impact on you, please let me know down in the comments, and like and subscribe and share with any of your friends. But you guys have a beautiful rest of your day, all right? Thank you so much.